Support for today's episode comes from Amazon. Amazon is working toward a carbon-free energy future, doing more with less, investing where it matters most, and supporting communities where we operate. Engineering capacity shortfalls stall infrastructure builds. Engineering capacity shortfalls are delaying builds. Before groundbreaking, equipment lead times and skilled trades shortages have dominated the conversation about why infrastructure projects slip, but a growing number of projects are losing months before either constraint ever comes into play, because the engineering firm doing the design work is already booked. Front-end engineering and design, the phase where a project's technical specifications get finalized before procurement or construction begins, has quietly become one of the biggest constraints on how fast grid and industrial projects move. Utilities and developers have spent the past 2 years focused on transformer lead times, turbine backlogs, and skilled trades shortages. Less visible is the fact that a project cannot order the right transformer, size the right switchgear, or bid the right construction package until an engineering firm has finished the design work that tells everyone what to order. When that firm is booked out for a year or more, the project's real start date has already moved, regardless of what equipment or labor markets look like later. The shift toward outsourced engineering has made the bottleneck sharper. More than half of U.S. engineering services work is now handled by outsourced engineering, procurement, and construction management firms rather than in-house teams, according to Mordor Intelligence's 2026 market analysis, as owners increasingly transfer design and construction risk through lump sum or guaranteed maximum price contracts. That consolidation concentrates specialized grid and industrial design work inside a smaller pool of firms at exactly the moment demand for that work is climbing across sectors. Why front-end engineering has become the new long lead item for grid projects. Front-end engineering and design work, often shortened to FEED, sets a project's technical scope, cost estimate, and equipment specifications before a fixed bid goes out. It has always taken time. What has changed is that the firms doing this work are now booked against the same wave of demand as everyone downstream of them. A utility substation upgrade and a data center's power distribution design pull from the same small pool of specialized engineers. So does a manufacturer electrifying a production line. A project that would once have moved from concept to construction mobilization in a few months can now spend most of a year waiting for detailed design work to reach the front of an engineering firm's queue. That queue position matters more than it used to because engineering output is what triggers everything after it. Equipment orders cannot be placed with confidence until designs specify exact ratings and configurations. Construction crews cannot be scheduled until drawings are issued for construction. A delay at the design stage does not just add its own time to a project. It pushes back the point at which every other lead time clock, including the multi-year ones for transformers and switchgear, even starts running. Outsourced engineering firms are absorbing Buy America compliance costs into design schedules. Federal procurement rules requiring domestic steel, cement, and component sourcing on publicly funded infrastructure work are adding measurable time to design schedules, according to a 2026 analysis of the U.S. engineering services sector, as engineers spend additional billable hours validating that specified materials and suppliers meet domestic content requirements. On some projects, that compliance verification work has stretched design schedules by close to a year. For a facilities team assuming a standard design timeline based on past projects, that is not a rounding error. It is the difference between a project that clears permitting and financing on schedule and one that quietly falls a year behind before a single foundation is poured. What utilities' multi-year capital spending wave means for engineering queues. Utilities are entering a 5-year period of record capital investment in grid infrastructure as electrification and load growth accelerate. And every dollar of that spending competes for the same limited pool of engineering resources that industrial and commercial developers also need. A utility with an approved transmission upgrade and a data center developer with a permitted campus are in practice competing for the same specialized substation design teams, not just the same transformers. Utilities have already had to rethink how they forecast demand under this pressure. Engineering capacity is the next planning assumption due for the same reexamination because a utility's approved capital plan is only as fast as the design firm executing it. The practical effect shows up earliest in projects that assumed engineering was a fixed, predictable phase rather than a constrained resource with its own queue. Site selection has already shifted toward infrastructure readiness as the deciding factor in where projects land. Engineering firm availability belongs in that same readiness assessment, alongside grid capacity and permitting pathways, rather than treated as a phase that simply happens once a site is chosen. Why facilities teams should treat engineering contracts like equipment orders. The response taking shape among more sophisticated developers is to engage engineering firms and reserve design capacity well before a site or financing package is finalized. The same shift that has already happened with transformer and turbine orders. That means budgeting for engineering fees earlier in a project's life, before final investment decision, and accepting that a design contract signed today may not convert into deliverable drawings for the better part of a year, given current firm backlogs. It also means asking a prospective engineering partner directly about their current backlog and staffing plan for a project's specific discipline, not just their overall firm size or reputation. None of this replaces the equipment and labor planning that has rightly gotten attention over the past 2 years. It adds a step in front of it. A facilities team that has secured transformer capacity and lined up construction crews can still watch a project slip by a year if the engineering firm doing the detailed design work was never in the plan until after the site was chosen. The firms that avoid that outcome are the ones now calling their engineering partner before they call their equipment vendor. Sustainability Soundbites energy coverage is sponsored by Amazon. Visit the link in our show notes to learn more about Amazon's spotlight on energy. For sponsorship opportunities with Environment and Energy Leader, please reach out to a member of our team.